I'm always amazed by not only your brilliance, but how you articulate it. So, yeah. So I sometimes wish that I had that facility, and I get that I could have as I increase my self-expression, and at the same time I have a feeling that I have a slightly different gift.
Yeah, and there it is. It's simply an intention or a heart's desire. Anytime you find yourself wishing that you had someone else's talent or gift or ability, just check and see if you really want it. Do you really desire it enough to go through all that you would go through to have it? If you do, then guaranteed you will. But most of the time what you find is you don't really, it just represents the success of someone's desires, and then you just see what your own are, and then, so that's another piece there. If you ever get stuck with envy, or what are the other words, thinking you're less than somebody because they can do something you can't, just ask yourself, well, yeah, they can do it. They're certainly way better than me, but now the real question is, well, do I want to do that? And almost all the time you find your interests actually do lie elsewhere. And that what you really want is to empower your desires. So just another little part there.
Yeah. It's been such an interesting journey, and something you mentioned just a little bit ago was around you receiving me in a different way.
Right.
And I hadn't even thought of that,
right.
And now I look back at the week that we've been together, and I get it. I get that you receive me differently.
Yes.
That now he's listening to my ideas.
Yeah.
And it's not just that, because I mean you listened to my ideas before, but now there's actually an investment in those ideas that you get that there's something valuable for you in it, and that's very cool.
Yeah, you start to be someone that will produce, that will decide on a certain intention or desire, and then go through the steps and find out, he's actually committed, and that's a whole nother step. You can intend things, but then you see how committed you are to actually having them. And if you intend and then you say, no, I'm going to produce that result, and then he does, then that becomes someone very valuable. And so if someone like that tells you they're going to do something, you listen right up, because it's somebody you can count on. And so as John becomes more and more that kind of person, I naturally listen, and nobody delights in that more than me, than seeing people arrive at that power within themselves and manifest their desires and their happiness. And it always spills back over on me in some way, because we're in this together. And so that's another thing. You don't really have to worry so much when you put out a creative or a love effort or an energy. You can trust that it'll come back. Now, most people know that part, but what they don't know is as it comes back, you have to be able to receive it. And that gets us back to the point we made in the beginning, because a lot of people know that if you put it out, it'll come back. But then they're like, well, why is it not working? Or why am I still so poor? Or why, So that answers another question, is as you put your love out in whatever form, it does come back, but there's an added task. And the added task is to receive it. The added task is to spiral up your self-value, spiral up your self-love, spiral up the actual belief that you deserve it, and that you can benefit from it and derive all of the goodies from it. It's another set of tasks, not just the giving, like we said before. So, to close that circle.
Yep, and that's what I've been working on for a while, and it works. I mean, I'm receiving more love in so many ways, more love than I ever have before in my life. I'm happier than I ever have been before in my life. It's basically, this is one of my mantras. I say this all the time. I say, I love my life. And I do. I just love it. It's off the charts.
Yeah, I do too. And one of the extensions of that is the more you love your life, the healthier you'll be. The healthier you'll be, the longer you'll be here, because you want to be here. And so there's a direct reflection of happiness and health, and wanting to be here and desiring. Because a lot of people, if truth be told, they're not so happy to be here, and they are a little resigned to their departure. And then if you talk about that, then you have to talk about people who are so miserable or so unhappy or so suffering that it's actually very real for them to be thinking about leaving, like now. So that's a whole nother major conversation that we can empower is, if you want to leave, you can. And there's nothing wrong with it. And and then there's the challenge of staying and making it magnificent.
That's right.
It
can be a challenge, although the rewards are so infinitely beyond. I mean, it's so worth it, I guess, from my point of view.
Oh yes, yes. Well, yeah, we can. There are numerous examples. We could line people up here with example after example after example after example of the transformation of their lives into something they love, or clearly in the process of growing into something they love. And to say something about that, the process of changing your life into something you love really is about changing yourself into someone you love. And then the doing and having and mirror reflection of life will simply reflect the fact that you are someone you love. And so how can life treat you other than to bring to you the things that you love? So the good news is you don't really have to work hard out in the world, so to speak, to get a life that you love. You work on yourself. You become somebody. And so it's a self-transformation, a self-change process, a process of literally becoming someone different. Yeah. Actually unknown to you. You don't even know who you're going to be. Like, who would you be if you were the kind of person that had all of the abundance and creativity and sexuality and love and health that you want? You would not be you. You would not be the you that you are now. You would be a different you, a much happier, more magnificent one. And so the technology we use is how to get you from the you are now to the you actually would love to be in that process.
Beautifully put. And it feels like that's a good way to end the interview.
Yes, yeah, good pause point.
Yeah.